DNVR Broncos live, coming to you from the DNVR Bar on the corner of Colfax and York in beautiful Denver, Colorado. And it is most certainly the calm before the storm in here today, boys.
Good day to win a championship.
Great day to win a championship. I have been thinking a lot, as we were just kind of talking about off air, about Avs Game 5 last year. Everyone put too much pressure on it.
Okay.
So me personally, I'm putting no pressure on this game.
That's going to probably help him win.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's really good. Do you feel like there's more pressure or the same amount of pressure on the Nuggets this year for Game 5?
There's massive pressure, and I think there should be. Like, you have a chance to win this at home. Like, you get to win in front of your fans.
Yep.
Like, you get to see people screaming and like go and say, like, the party in that arena after they win. It would be, I mean, what? There's only been one other title that's ever been won in Denver.
Yep.
It would be the biggest
2001.
party, second biggest party in Denver history. Like, I think that's massive.
No, it
pressure.
would probably be the biggest.
I think so, too.
That is crazy that there's only been one championship won in Denver.
Yeah.
With,
and like,
how many are we talking? We're talking 6?
yeah.
6 championships, and only one's been in Denver. Now, obviously, football, it's going to be really
no
tough.
football
but-
could be in there, and that includes even like the Buffs national championship. That was even in Florida, which is funny.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
But that's in Florida.
Yep.
2 Avs in
Two
Florida.
Avs in Florida.
Broncos in Florida. They're all in
Yep,
Florida.
Yep, and not just Florida, pretty much Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if it's Game 6, Florida.
Yep, Miami.
Miami.
Yeah, it's crazy, but to me, like, I don't know. Last year, I was like, I just got ahead of myself, and I think other people are too. But I think as long as I don't,
Yeah.
they'll be okay.
Yeah, okay, well, there we go. So bringing it home tonight.
Like last year, I was like, all right, we got to plan out like how are we gonna get downtown after they win. Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. I'm just like, well, if they win, I'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. Yeah. Yeah. You and everyone else will be heading downtown.
I want to be here for a while. Last year, I left too soon.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it'll. I don't think the bar will like clear out right away.
Well, I was so excited to get downtown, and then I got there, and it was just like 21-year-old kids who just moved here from Chicago and California.
It was that, and fireworks. Like, there's people like throwing off fireworks in the street. The walk all the way down there was incredible. I don't know.
You sound like a boomer.
You do
Ryan.
sound like a boomer.
Those damn 21-year-olds from out of state.
Well, it's just like here is where all the
Yeah,
fans,
yeah,
the
yeah.
realest of the real.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
So that's where I want to be.
That's why I'm surprised you're already talking about leaving.
Whenever it may be.
I got called out for my shorts today. I was looking before on the monitor. I was like, oh, probably should cross my legs when the show starts. Totally forgot. Got roasted as I deserved.
Because you're wearing shorts?
Oh, and they kind of ride up when you sit down. But again, like, I don't know. You've
Yeah,
never
I've
seen
a lot of leg.
But I mean, it's just like any other leg.
Trying to be Greg Dulcich?
That's what they said. Yeah. And no, I'm not.
You're like the West Ham coach in the finale of Ted Lasso over there.
I stopped. I stopped during the second season.
Damn, I watched the finale last night, and I have to say, like, my sports emotions are already on high. Watching that, whew,
Did you shed a tear?
1 tear?
A lot of tears.
I would say I shed an average of 1 tear per minute.
Wow.
At least.
How do you shed 1 tear per minute?
I'm just saying, like,
That would be
cumulatively.
tough.
Yeah, it
Like,
would
there's
be.
like 8 different scenes in there that would make you cry.
Wow.
So it's like, like I shed enough tears in those minutes to cover the ones where I wasn't.
That's fair. That's fair. So
I don't know. I don't need to be sad because of TV.
It's not sad.
It's happy sad.
I don't need to
right?
cry because of TV.
Or happy tears.
I love crying, man.
Are you
Wow.
crying? Do you
Love
cry
a good
after
cry.
championships?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely. I've been crying like I was crying this morning.
I cried-
thinking about tonight.
I cried during the national anthem while I was there at game 1.
Well,
yep.
yeah. So
No Sean Moreno
yeah, no
style.
Sean. Yeah.
It's just a great way. It's a great feeling, man. I always think about Jimmy V's speech. If you laugh, you think, you cry. That's a good day.
There we go.
Wow.
There. Are you thinking right now?
I'm
Not
trying
really.
to.
No.
Yeah, I had a hell of a weekend. Thinking is hard.
Wow.
Should we dive into some thinking?
Yeah, let's do
Make
it.
you think on this one.
And
So,
try to make him cry too. That'd be a gift.
Well,
I've never cried on air.
with this conversation, crying would probably be sad tears. It probably wouldn't be happy tears.
Does it have to be happy tears?
Although Garrett Bolles wants to make some people cry sad tears, not us.
We've
He
seen-
wants us to cry happy tears.
we've seen Garrett Bolles cry.
Um,
Yeah, the ankle. right?
Yeah.
Yep, on the cart.
Driving
I was
off
thinking
the
like
cart.
when he got drafted.
Oh, yep, there's that one
Probably
too.
that too. Bolles is a very emotional person.
Yep.
He is.
In a very passionate way. I mean that in a good way.
Yep.
And Garrett Bolles was very passionate when we talked to him at the end of last week following OTAs, and he was talking about his quarterback, Russell Wilson. Don't you dare say a bad thing about his quarterback, Russell Wilson. And Garrett was passionate as can be last week when we talked to him, talked about so many different things, and he was giving one-word answers and then giving 2-minute long answers, just depending. And typically you don't see that. Typically see one guy come up and give one-word answers for the whole thing or 2-minute answers for every single thing, but it showed his passion specifically for Russell Wilson. Let's just play a clip from that press conference just to show you what Garrett had to say about Russ, his quarterback.
I think he's phenomenal. You guys write the stories, so, the fire goes where you guys write. And that's just reality. But we knew who he was as a person. I've known him very personal. I love him dearly. I think he's one of the greatest quarterbacks in the game in the last 10 years. I mean, stats don't lie. Just because you have one rough season, you can't, dictate a type of guy and his personality and what he goes through. I was angry with everything that came out because I love him dearly. I take it very personal. Like I do, or us here, and so when you put a heart on the line, and you're focused, and things go rocky, you look like the bad guy, but he's not. He's a great dude. He's the same guy every single day. He works his butt off, and I'm ready for that stuff to go away. And when it goes, everyone's gonna eat crow.
Take that, haters. Take that, Richard Sherman. Take that, former Seahawks players that have talked crap about Russell Wilson, but I guess they don't have to take it right now because right now he hasn't turned it around.
Yep. This is a weird place for me to be. I love when the haters eat crow. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Been happening a lot in the past few months in Denver.
Lately. The problem for me is I'm closer to them than I am to Garrett right now.
About how you view Russell Wilson.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm certainly not a
Damn.
Russell Wilson hater by any stretch of the mind, but I am a Russell Wilson. I'm scared. I don't know how to put it. I'm scared for Russell Wilson. So like, I'm normally like, yeah, watch this. You are gonna eat crow. Now I'm like, I hope no one's like watching the Broncos because I don't have any confidence right now. So I would love to get there, and I would love to be where Garrett is, and I respect that he is doing that because I think Russell Wilson needs some people to build him up. Like, this is random things that I think about in the shower, but I was thinking about this in the shower today, and I was like, I think it would help Russell Wilson if Sean Payton on the podium one day was just like, I think Russ is going to win the MVP this year. Yeah. Watch.
100%. Absolutely.
And like, I want people to build him up. So I love that Garrett is injecting his quarterback with confidence. I want someone to inject me with confidence in Russell Wilson. Because I'm not there yet.
Well, I think there's only one person that can do that, and that's Russell Wilson on the field come September, October, November, and December this year. And unfortunately, a lot of people responded to these comments from Garrett Bolles by saying, we saw nearly the exact same thing said from Garrett Bolles last year, 1 year ago. Not the same thing, but along the similar lines. And remember when Russell Wilson got here and Garrett Bolles said, man, Russell's been hit way too much. He's not going to be touched here. And then what happened? Russ went out and led the league in sacks last year. And that's his offensive line's fault. That's Russ's fault. That's Nathaniel Hackett's fault. It was everyone's fault. But it's like, man, Garrett came out and said this bold, awesome thing that people were able to rally around and run with. And it was the complete opposite. So now Garrett comes out and says this. Are we supposed to believe it right now? And that's, again, why people are just like, wait until I'm not going to get hyped until we actually see it happen.
And in Garrett's defense, he only played 5 games, so it's not much he could have done about it. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's like a fine line between the people who said Russell Wilson is playing bad right now and like Russell Wilson is washed, like he's done. And so like you don't have to eat crow for saying, oh, he had a bad year, because obviously he had a bad year. Like there's no arguing that. But it's all the people who say, oh, he's done, he's cooked. And those people are usually just like the talk show.
Right.
It's just, we see it with the Jokic too. It's just the Skip Bayless, whatever. It'd be a lot of fun. We'll
So,
see
Henry,
what happens.
Do you think that he's not cooked? He just had a bad year. He's not washed.
I don't know. I don't have like a strong opinion either way. Nothing would surprise me. If he bounces back and he's good, there you go. If he doesn't, like, I don't think either one of those things is more likely than the other.
But you're saying the people that are saying he's washed are the talk show people that want the headlines, yet you're not willing to say that he's not. So isn't
This is a talk show.
But what
We're giving takes.
What
We're
I'm
not
saying
just
is
reporting.
I'm right there with Henry. I'm not confident enough in Russ to say he's not. But that's not as bad as saying he is.
Yeah. And if I have to eat crow, because I'm sure at some point I said, wow, Russ might be done. Hey, there we go. I was wrong. But I don't know that I've said that too firmly at any point. But, I mean, it was rough last year. I bet at some point I said something.
Yeah, I mean, everyone thought it. Guarantee you that. You could be the biggest Russell Wilson believer in the world, whether that's his mom or Sierra. The thought crossed your mind at some point.
Exactly.
Shit, he might be done.
Yeah, 100%. And now we're sitting here in June. We feeling a lot better about Russ and the chances of him bouncing back after 6 months away from it. We haven't seen Russ on the field. We haven't seen that offense on the field in 6 months. And they've also got some boosts. They've got the Sean Payton boost. They've got, spending over $200 million this offseason, over $150 million on just the offensive line this offseason. So there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic, but I think the separation from seeing Russ on the field has certainly made us feel better, because I think in January, we were having the conversations of, do you take $100 million dead cap hit this year to move on from Russ? That's how bad it was in the moment. And so I think we've softened on that a little bit because of a lot of things that have happened. But what does it actually have to look like on the field this year for Russ to have a bounce back? And then maybe a step further, for Russ to have his critics eat crow. What does that have to look like? But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Backus and Schenker. Garrett is also coming off a broken leg. And if you are to break your leg crossing the street in a car accident and a pedestrian accident, you got to call our friends over at Backus and Schenker for any sort of injury accident that you're in. Give them a call, because they are going to work with you. A free consultation. It's free when you're going through your trial with them. You only pay them when they win for you, and they have won for people here in Colorado. Over $1 billion. That's significantly more than the Broncos paid in contracts this offseason. That's how much money they've won for their clients. So call them at 222-2222 or check them out over at coloradolaw.net. If you have any sort of injury accident, they are the people to go to. That's Backus and Schenker, 222-2222.
And go see our friends at, honestly, one of my absolute favorite partners. This is a place that, honestly, at this point, I cannot live without. Bolo Sports, which is awesome. We've got a whole bunch of sports things. Ryan, I saw that you were kicking some ball. No, you got somebody out. That's what it was. You got somebody out in the kickball league.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at cup and hand kickball. First time I ever played it, I'm good.
But you only recorded one out. That was it.
Well, I didn't record anything. That would be hard. But
That'd be two hands.
Exactly.
Unless it was
There
a
were
cup
some
of-
highlights of me on Twitter.
Wait, what? You didn't
Yeah.
record any outs? What do you mean?
Well,
You're
wait,
thinking
exactly.
of recording it out as in like in the scorebook. I'm talking about recorded.
Oh,
with a
no.
phone.
Yeah.
No, I had a hell of a game.
Yeah.
The only thing is, like, I'm the pitcher. My pitching stats probably weren't good.
Oh.
But I guess if you count errors, I probably had like 0 earned runs.
That's probably pretty cool.
There you go.
The kickball is a sneaky tough one to me, because I feel like it actually takes a lot of practice to know where to kick the ball. Like, because I always show up. Exactly. But I just show up and it's like, okay, I just got to kick this thing really hard and good things will happen. That's not how it works. Like, you
also
need
just,
to
like-
know where you're going with that thing.
Like all sports, you just look out in the field, find the weak link, and kick it to them.
Yeah. Who was the weak link?
On our team?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, come on. One defensive
he's,
weak
he's,
link.
He's trying to be a leader right now, not throw anyone under the bus.
Yeah.
B. Joel.
We had
Shouldn't it be you?
defense needed some work.
Shouldn't it start with you? Shouldn't you say, I need to be better, and then the people around me will be better?
We already heard he had 0
Like, if you're a
errors.
leader.
So like lying.
So tell us the truth and pick a weak link, please.
No, there's no weak links. The other team just hit it in the right spots.
Wow, you said there were errors back there, though.
It's true.
Okay, well,
First of all, it's at least it appears from my view as the pitcher, it seems really hard to catch the ball with one hand and a beer.
I would think so.
Wow. Okay.
So I can't put too much blame on the folks.
Imagine
out
when one's drilled right at you as the pitcher.
That did happen to me, and I just popped it up in the air, and then Lindsay caught it.
Oh, wow.
Is that an error on you for not catching it?
No, because it was an out. You can't get an error and an out in the same play.
You definitely can. You could get an error
Not
when there's an out.
You can't have an error on a caught ball. You could have an error and get someone out a different way.
Okay, fair. So you're perfect. And everyone else on the team sucks, but he won't tell us who.
That's a tough one.
I think that our team is great, and we're
Did we
gonna
win?
And we're gonna win. No, we're gonna win our next game. We did though. It's two. This is what's sick about Volo. It's a 2-layer game. After you finish kickball, you come back to the DNVR bar and you play Flip Cup, which we won. So kickball was worth 2 points. Flip Cup was worth 1. So we didn't go scoreless on the day.
Man, and that's the cool thing about Volo is if you're involved in Volo specifically by us, you're just coming to the bar right after, and you get 2 and 1.
Yep.
What a steal. And they have a bunch of other great deals going as well. Well, actually, there's one really big one that you should get in on. $20 a month, and you can show up to all of their pickup games, which they have all over the place. There's like darts things, there's basketball things, all that, and pickups, drop-ins, tournaments, all that stuff. $20 a month or $200 a year. There's also a beta version for $10 a month for 3 months if you want to check that out. They're all over Denver, all the way to like Arvada, and I don't even know which of these places are the furthest, but the far out suburbs. So definitely do that, and definitely use the code DNVR10 for $10 off at www.volosports.com/Denver.
I do have to give a shout out to Vote. He definitely got like the effort award of the game. Dude was on the ground for half the game, just laying out, diving, sliding into bases.
How do you do that with a beer in hand?
Well, that's the thing. You don't normally, but he did. He did. The rule is at the end of the play, you have to have the bottom of your cup covered in liquid.
Okay. Or else it's an out.
Or else, well, let's say like you make a sick catch, but you spilled, no catch. Or you hit a home run, but you get to home plate and your cup's empty, no home run.
Dang.
Wow.
I love it.
Yep. So a guy actually had a sick diving catch on me, and then I had to run out there to check his cup, and he had enough.
Wow. Oh, wow. So it was counted.
Yep.
Dang.
Wow.
Yep. All right. Anyways, Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
What would he have to do to consider this a bounce back season? Honestly, I think this would be like in the comeback player of the year conversation. And then what would he have to do to probably win comeback player of the year or be in the MVP conversation and really make his haters eat crow?
Well, help me out here. Which one would this fall under? Because I've got a stat line for you that I think is pretty spot on for one of these categories. How about 64.6% completion, 3,700 passing yards, 28 passing touchdowns, and 9 interceptions with 100 quarterback rating.
Can you read it one more time for me?
100 passer rating,
Okay.
64.6 completion percentage,
Okay.
3,700 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, 9 interceptions.
Are those his career stats?
That would
That'd be my
win
guess.
comeback player of the year.
That would win comeback player of the year?
Yep.
That's what Russell Wilson has averaged in his career,
that's-
including last year. That includes last year's down year. That's what Russ, just if he's an average player, that includes his rookie year too. That includes his down year, what people said 2 years ago. 3,700 yards, 28 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions. I don't think that wins MVP at all for Russ, but I do think that's definitely in the conversation for comeback player of the year, and I think people are eating crow then.
I also put together a stat line that actually turned out to be pretty similar. 64%, which is up from 60.5%. Completions, 3,950 yards, up from 3,524. 21 touchdowns, up from 16. 10 interceptions instead of 11. That's a line that I came up with that I think will be his stats if he plays at the exact same level this year, just because, he has the upgrade offensive line. He has Sean Payton because he has Tim Patrick. And so there's a little bit of a difference, like more touchdowns on yours and less interception, a couple little details. But I think that that's pretty close to what I would expect, just because what is around him would be so much better.
Man, to me, he's not eating crow. Or people aren't eating crow with that. 21 touchdowns and 10 interceptions.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the original.
No. I think the one that I said, people are eating crow with that, and I do think he's in the conversation for comeback player of the year. Just DeMar Hamlin throws me off of if he's going to win it or not. But this one, 21 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. You're saying...
people are saying, oh, yeah, Sean Payton got the best out of a washed quarterback.
Exactly, and that's kind of, Henry, what you are building, is you built that by saying he's still going to be the level he played at last year, but Sean's just going to bump him up a little bit. That would be... man, do you think Sean Payton can get that from any quarterback? 21 touchdowns and 10 interceptions?
What did he get from Jameis?
He actually did an incredible job that year. I'll pull the quarterback numbers up because it wasn't just Jameis. 4 quarterbacks started for them in 2021. And I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, so let me pull them up.
Okay. While we're talking about that, if you notice I was a little distracted, it's because I was looking up the definition or the origin of eating crow. We just said it so many times that it started to sound so weird to me. So here you go. Eating crow is a colloquial idiom used in some English-speaking countries that means humiliation by admitting having been proven wrong after taking a strong position, of course. But here goes. The exact origin is unknown, but it probably began with an American story published around 1850 about a dim-witted New York farmer who had to eat crow after he was wrong about something. So, of course, eating crow sounds gross, just like eating your words. May be tough to swallow.
I would guess that he was saying oh no, these chickens that I'm raising, they're going to be awesome. You guys are totally wrong. These are going to be great. But then since they didn't turn out to be great, he was like, I guess I got to eat a crow. That's all he had left to eat. I bet that's the story.
It's weird how loose they can't really tell you how this originated.
See, didn't we read a definition last week where one of the words we had to Google in the definition?
Yes.
When you lost me when you said colloquial idiomism?
Colloquial idiom.
Idiot. What the hell are we doing here?
Idiom means phrase.
Yep. Colloquial means kind of passed down.
Right.
So a passed down
I don't even know.
phrase. And see, you lost me. I was just stuck on those 2 words.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to... You're right. We kind of would have to...
It's
that's kind of messed up on, on the dictionary.
Folky phrase.
The phrase appears around 1850 in the United States and is presumed to have derived from a story that appeared in the Saturday Evening Post in 1850 about a farmer who was challenged by his boarders to eat a crow.
Oh.
The original phrase was to eat boiled crow. Today, the term has been streamlined to eat crow. Related terms are eats crow, ate crow, eating crow.
Huh.
So...
still tough.
I wonder what countries say that.
Is
Does
tough.
it say? Because it said some English-speaking countries.
It didn't.
Can we get the origin? The
I tried
pronunciation? I'm just as lost as ever before. Okay, so I got those numbers for you. In 2021, after Drew Brees retired, Sean Payton's only year without Drew Brees as the head coach, here's what his quarterbacks did collectively. And when I'm saying his quarterbacks, you know who started the most games for... This can't be right.
Andy Dalton?
Andy Dalton was not on the team.
It must have been the next year.
Taysom
The year
Hill
before?
started games
Next
at
year.
quarterback for them. I can't get the exact number because he also started at other positions. Jameis Winston started games. Ian Book started one game
Pride of Notre Dame.
for him. And Trevor Siemian, pride of the Denver Broncos, started 4 games for the Saints. So Taysom Hill, Ian Book, Jameis Winston, and Trevor Siemian are the 4 guys. Here's what they did collectively. 58.1% completion, worst in the NFL. Passing yards,
good.
3,437, worst in the NFL. Now, 29 touchdowns, 29 passing touchdowns. That would be the most that a Denver Bronco has had since
Peyton
2014.
Yep.
2014. And 13 interceptions,
Yeah.
which isn't great, but I don't think that was worst in the league. It was close to there, but 29 touchdowns, 13 interceptions for a passer rating of 84.7. So obviously two of the stats are worse than the NFL, but 29 touchdowns, 13 interceptions he did with 4 different quarterbacks named Jameis Winston, Ian Book, Trevor Siemian, and Taysom Hill. Like, why can't Russ get to that?
He should.
Please.
Yeah, he should. And I wouldn't say that season that the Saints had like markedly better weapons than the Broncos have.
I would
Would
completely
probably
No,
be
agree
worse.
with you.
that was the terrible year.
Yeah.
That's when they had nobody.
That
That's
was
Marcus
when
Callaway
Yep.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marcus Callaway, 698 receiving yards. That led the team. Then you had Deontay Hardy with the second most catches, and Alvin Kamara was the third best receiver on the team. And he was a running back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's honestly that should be the Mendoza line this year for Russ. If he falls under it, he's washed.
Yeah, and that's why 21 touchdowns and 10 interceptions would just be like, man, I feel like you squeezed everything out of Russ, and he is washed.
Well, that would be concerning to me. Yeah. I mean, you're looking for a much more prolific stat line when Sean Payton's your coach. And man, I don't know. I hope I'm looking back at this conversation saying, man, we had so little faith. We're so wrong. Serve me a plate of boiled crow. But it's hard to say. It's hard to sit here and say like, yep, I believe in Russ. I believe in Sean Payton. It's all going to work out. Things are going to be great.
And so when you think of stats and what's realistic, what's not, what's an elite touchdown to interception ratio for a quarterback
I
in a
don't even
season?
know.
I'd say 5-1.
That'd be, I mean, that's like MVP type stuff.
Isn't that what elite is?
If that's what you mean,
MVP
then yeah.
level? Yeah.
How
Yeah.
many people can be elite at once?
3-ish.
Okay. I would guess 3 guys didn't have 5-1 last year.
25-5. Yeah. It'd be There's no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
No way, huh? Okay, then what would you say it is?
I would probably say over 3.5 to 1.
Over 3.5 to 1. Okay, that's fair. And last year it looks like that was kind of the line, was 3.5 to 1 to be elite. Joe Burrow, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Josh Allen, 35 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Patrick Mahomes, 41 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. You did have Jared Goff, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, which definitely
over 4
beats
to 1. That's
that.
impressive.
And other thing about Jared Goff, just real quick, we talked about him before, like almost 4,500 passing yards last year. You know who his second leading receiver was?
Who?
Khalif Raymond.
Wow.
He was number
is-
2 in receiving yards on that team.
And-
Friend.
Isn't that crazy?
And since we're talking about
All-Pro last year.
since we're talking about
Returner.
Jared
Wow.
Goff, I threw those stats out about Russ's career average: 28 touchdowns, 29 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 9 interceptions. Last year, 3,700 yards, 64% completion. Jared Goff last year, 65% completion, 4,400 yards, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Yeah. Great year.
Incredible. And so that's why Jared Goff actually did have a fantastic year last year.
yeah.
Now you just have to, just like with Russ, you have to decide, was that kind of a one-off year? Or is that who Jared Goff is in this new system? Was last year a one-off year? Or is that what Russell Wilson is without Pete Carroll coaching him?
Absolutely. And I think, again, offensively, like just in terms of, like offensive play calling and that sort of thing, Pete Carroll is significantly lower on the totem pole.
He's
than
a
Sean
defensive
Payton.
coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not going to be leaving. You shouldn't be leaving this season saying like, oh yeah, like Pete Carroll was just better at getting the most out of Russ than Sean Payton could. Like no. It's if Russ is great this year, Sean Payton deserves a lot of credit.
Yes, 100%.
If Russ is terrible this year, Sean Payton doesn't deserve that much blame.
And I think that's exactly one of the reasons why Sean was not bothered by taking over a team with Russell Wilson, is because if he can revive him, then he gets all the credit. If not, he wasn't the one that traded for Russell Wilson. He wasn't the one that gave Russell Wilson the contract. So he's going to have no ties to him. And I think he's made it very clear. I'm going to keep Russ at an arm's length away.
Yep.
I'm not going to I'm not going to come out and say
This
he's
isn't
going to
the
have an
Sean and
MVP
Russ show.
season. Yes, exactly. So that after this year, he can just move on from him. And I'm sure when Sean took the job, there was that understanding. If Russ doesn't work this year, we're gonna make it work where we can move on from him.
There
I'm
was
not tied to
reporting
him.
about that.
Yeah.
I want to say it was either Tom Pelissero or James Palmer who said like, if Russ doesn't play well this year, they might move on.
Yep.
And it's just annoying that like Sean Payton has to position himself like away from Russell Wilson, that sort of thing. He's a great coach and it's totally worth it, but he does have a couple of those flaws where it's like, okay, just give up the ego. Imagine if he approached it like Nikola Jokic would. Like not even caring about like blame or anything like that. It's just like, nope, we're just going to do the best we can. Like I'm not going to worry about the politics. And maybe that just doesn't work for a coach, but
I think it does. It absolutely does. It's just whether or not your ego is playing a role. For Jokic, it's not. You know, he was asked something along the lines of like, what's it like being the best player on the best team? And he's like, I'm only the best player on the team sometimes. Sometimes Jamal's the best player on the team. Sometimes Mike's the best player on the team. Like, you know, and same thing goes for his defense. He was like, yeah, like my defense is good when the team's defense is good, and when the team's defense is bad, my defense is bad. You know.
Well, and I mean, you look at teams that win Super Bowls. Sure, sometimes it is carried by a true MVP to the Super Bowl or winning the Super Bowl. But a lot of the times, yes, it is Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes or a great quarterback. But in the playoff run, someone else really steps up and takes over too.
Yep. I have to say, I'm a little bit befuddled by the idea out there that the Broncos are just going to be a running football team. It sounds so great in theory. Oh, just hand the ball off to the running backs. You know, you can just run the ball and average 5 yards a carry and blah, 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 blah. Sean Payton has never done that.
No, but he's going to have to adapt to Russell Wilson because he's had Drew Brees.
I know, but a guy who, a guy who passes the ball all the time, just like me and Madden. I don't just suddenly run the ball every play.
If you were,
although I will say I got Nick Chubb in last Madden and then I ran the ball every play.
There you go. That's exactly it, though. That's what Sean Payton's
I'm
doing.
A great coach.
He's going, and so yeah. So do you believe Sean Payton's a great coach and can adapt? That's one of the things that has made Bill Belichick such a good coach. Is, I guess I should say, the Patriots when they had Tom was, I think they're the only team in NFL history to have 50 passing attempts in a game in a season and 50 rushing attempts in a game in a season. And you have to be able to adapt, whether it's week to week or year to year. And Ryan, Sean Payton is getting that, quote, Nick Chubb with Javonte Williams' running game while taking a massive step backwards in the quarterback play.
But maybe it's not a massive step backwards. Here's what I'll say. Saying you're going to run the ball is great, but you're down 10-0 in the second quarter, and you run the ball on first down, and it goes for 1 yard. Are you actually running the ball on second down? If you are, then that means you're committed to running the ball. When you have spent your whole career chunking up the field by calling passing plays, I don't think you just suddenly become a guy who runs the ball on 2nd and 9, down 10.
But then what if Russ drops back and throws a pick? Then I think you are coming back, and you're down 17-0. I think you're running the ball.
The game's over at that point.
And potentially, it very well could be. And we're really going to see Sean Payton's true confidence in Russ, but once the season comes around. But it would be so easy for him to give Russ his confidence. Even this offseason when he's been asked, Ryan, he says like, yeah, Russ has picked it up well. Then he goes and talks about the rest of the offense and then finishes off by saying, yeah, Russ is doing well. Well, not like great or man, I've just been blown away with how he's performed this offseason, especially compared to last year. All that. No, there's been none of that.
At the same time, there's only so impressive you can be during an OTA. Like, I think, especially as a quarterback, like, you don't think so.
I completely disagree.
There's just no pressure or anything. Like, you just get to stand there.
Last week, Sean Payton spoke very highly of Jerry Jeudy. He spoke very highly of Caden Stearns. So he's not taking that approach with everyone.
No,
he's not saying that with everyone. So if he's giving credit to some people, he can give it to everyone if he wanted to.
But I just don't think, quarterbacks, there's only so much you can do. I guess you can not totally throw interceptions, but at the same time, it's like you kind of want to be testing your deep shot and all that stuff. Like, I just...
As a coach though, you know, like, you can see a guy and be like, okay, he's good. Or, okay, I've got a lot of work to do. I think I'm crossing my fingers that Sean Payton is playing this strategically, where he's going to kind of knock Russ down, and then in like the 3 weeks leading up to the season, build Russ up.
Yeah. And he's been around enough to know how to handle these situations. And obviously not the quarterback position as much, but he knows how to handle these situations with player personalities and dealing with egos and dealing with team dynamics. So
and it's not like
he knows how to deal with that.
He's not saying bad things about him. I'm not saying he's knocking him down in that way, but it's like knock him down a peg.
Right.
You take his office. You do these things that are like, hey, like you're just one of the guys. You're nothing special. Then I'm hoping that right as we get up close to the season, he just starts saying like, I have the utmost confidence in Russell Wilson leading this football team, and then that's probably the shot of confidence that I'm gonna need.
Yep, 100%. So what is this? Where are we drawing the line for Russ to have a season where his critics are eating crow? I certainly think 28 touchdowns, 9 interceptions does that.
Yeah.
I don't think 21 touchdowns, 10 interceptions does that.
No.
So somewhere in the middle, right? Or is the bar that 28 and 9?
What about 25-10?
And it just depends on the other stuff to me. Like if he throws for 4,200 yards and has 23 and 10,
average?
then that's great.
3,700.
Let's say
Exactly.
Let's actually go a little bit below it. 3,600.
I don't think people are eating crow at that point. Like, I just don't think they are. I mean, because you're looking at like the number 13, 14 passer in terms of yards.
Let's find
that's not to the point, you know?
Let's find the bar that all three of us, because for me, 25-10, as long as it's like 65-ish % completions, and isn't that what the number was?
64. Yeah, 64-6.
So we'll say 64, 3,600, 25-10. I think people are eating crow. They're saying, hey, we were wrong about Russell Wilson. He's still got a little bit left in the tank. But that's just one. Are you in on that?
I mean, I'm really damn close to that. I'd like to see it in single digits interceptions, because then you're saying pretty much half an interception per game.
All right, 25-9.
Okay, I'm there then.
You want to set a yardage?
If he can get like 4,000, because if he's throwing for less than that, I just
39.50.
I don't think anybody's eating crow if that's the case. I think they're like, oh yeah, he was fine. I don't think anybody's talking about it.
I don't think Russ is throwing for 4,000 yards with only 25 touchdowns, because I think if he's throwing for 3,500 yards or something, it means they're running the damn
with that
ball
offensive
a lot.
line though. See, but that's the thing though, is you get down to the goal line. That's where you just trust the line to get it in.
So you're saying
that's running the ball.
Yeah, but I think between the 20s you see more passes. But like once you get down there, I think those running backs steal touchdowns from him.
Wouldn't 3,900 yards be pretty close to top 10 in the league?
3,900 would have been 10th last year.
Okay. 10th in passing yards in the league.
Yes.
Over 2.5 to 1 touchdown to interception. 64% completions. I'll tell you what, if he does that, the Broncos won some football games.
Yeah.
Double-digit win team.
Yeah.
And I think that would make him a pretty average quarterback. And if he's an average quarterback, I don't think Skip Bayless is showing up in the morning and saying, "Hey, we were all wrong about Russell Wilson," you know?
Well,
I think we would be like, he isn't as bad as they said, but I don't think anybody's admitting it.
If he goes for 25 and 9, is that what we said, in 4,000 yards, 64% completion, it showed that he's not washed. And so people that said he's washed and done would eat crow.
Well, he's saying 4,000 he would say that they're eating crow. But I'm saying 3,900, 3,800. For me, it doesn't even have to be that high. To me, it's about the efficiency and quality of play, less than it's about the yards.
Okay, well then give me 38. Whatever that number is passing wise. I think if it's 25, 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, people that weren't certain like we are, I don't think we're eating crow. I think we're saying he turned it around a little bit. He's not
Turned it around a lot.
Yeah, but he's not. You don't have a top 10 quarterback. You don't have a top 7 quarterback.
I think you probably do have a top 10 quarterback.
Maybe
10-ish.
Maybe. I mean, there were a lot of guys last year that did. My phone is not letting me load the stats, but there were a lot of guys that were right around there.
Yeah.
Like 10 to 15 guys. And so, but the people that are eating crow, the people that said he's washed, because you're not washed doing 25 and 9.
Or he's done, or whatever you said to basically say he can never come back from this season.
I think he needs 4,000. I think he needs 29 touchdowns.
Jesus.
I think less than 10 interceptions for people to actually eat crow, to like show up and say, I was wrong. Because that's what eating crow is. It's not just like, hey, we all know this guy kind of screwed up. It's, I have to admit that I was wrong about him.
Would you guys...
You see there's a national article that came out today about how Jokic is actually good at defense.
It was, and they got it right too. I was like, it's weird how like every time somebody writes about Nikola, you're just like, that's kind of close. And then it's like, oh, that's even closer. And then this time it's just like,
You guys are getting it.
That's exactly it.
You guys
That's exactly
figured it
what he
out.
does.
I don't think I'm giving people credit for this now, though.
Oh, I'm not giving anyone
one
credit.
day away
It's just
from-
beautiful. Like every domino is falling.
Yes. But so with Russ right now, would you sign up for a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio?
No.
If it's like 30 and 15, I could be tempted.
Okay, yes.
Let's do-
I was thinking 20 and 10.
Okay, let's
20
do,
and 10,
Let's do 34. So 2 touchdowns per game and 17. So he probably leads the league in picks, but 34 touchdowns.
Actually, I just have to think about, again, I just want to have fun watching football.
That'd be fun.
I will take it. Give
Yeah.
me 34 touchdowns. That means, they're averaging, so that's 3 touchdowns,
2 touchdowns.
2
a game.
touchdowns a game, and then,
Rushing, probably.
man, that's still so low.
That
Again,
would be,
like, if
that
he's
would be,
also-
that would be in the top 10.
If he's also throwing
As of
for like
last year's stats.
4,200 yards, then all of a sudden it's great.
Yeah, throw me a yardage on there.
See, I wanted to avoid the yardage. 4,000.
Yeah,
if he's
yeah.
throwing,
Yardage is so important.
If he's throwing for,
I'm in.
because passing touchdowns last year, there were that
Three.
would have ranked 4th in the NFL in passing touchdowns. He would have only been behind Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow.
Would have been first in interceptions. But I mean,
Yep,
for what it's
exactly.
worth, Mahomes 41 and 12, 5 more. That's it's significant. But Burrow 35 and 12, Allen 35 and 14,
You're
Geno
like
Smith 30 and 11.
A
Like
couple more interceptions than those guys. Yeah, I'll
yeah,
take it.
and that's where like if you're also completing 2/3 of your passes and picking up 4,200 yards, who knows? Maybe he's running too. Like that could be a great year.
Okay, here we go. Would you take this stat line? 4,500 passing yards.
Yes.
Okay, 29 touchdowns, 14
Yeah.
picks.
Yeah,
That's,
easy.
That's
Easy.
That's Kirk Cousins last year.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins was awesome.
He
last
was.
year. He's just Kirk Cousins.
I'm not disrespecting it.
So no, I know. I'm just saying like the only thing stopping Kirk Cousins from being awesome is the fact that he's Kirk Cousins.
Okay, how about this one?
Yeah.
4,700 passing yards,
I'm probably already in.
25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
Yep. I'm
That's,
all over
that's
that.
Justin Herbert from last year.
Yep.
Yep. Justin Herbert's really
Completed-
good. The only thing that's holding him back is being a Charger.
Completing more than 68% of his passes too. That's pretty crazy.
Justin Herbert goes to any other team in the league, MVP.
Tell me, so speaking about the 26-9 touchdown to interception ratio, the 28-9, these guys were all right around it last year. Tua, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers was a little worse than that, Jared Goff, Geno Smith, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Can Russ be in the conversation with those guys?
Can be.
Yeah.
How confident are you, though?
Very, very little.
Yeah. Again, like what did I have? I had
So that's essentially top 10. Those are kind of the top 10 quarterbacks.
Name them again.
Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Geno Smith, Jared Goff,
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, and Tua.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you put Goff and
And Jalen Hurts.
someone else in there makes me think he can be in that conversation for sure. I only heard a few, and I was like, yeah, no, not Mahomes and that.
again like what I
Allen
had.
and-
What I had just like if he plays the exact same as last year, exact same, but you get reasonable health, you get the new offensive line, you get Sean Payton, Tim Patrick, all that stuff. 64%, 39-50, 21 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So if he plays a little bit better, I mean, I don't think it's crazy for him to be right there.
No,
You
I
know-
now I retract my original doubt. That is where he should be
Yep.
Should be.
on the back end of that group.
So the top 10 quarterback, like number 10. What's crazy is looking at these stats, there's kind of the top 10, at least from last year. Then there's a next 10 with a significant drop off. We're talking 18 touchdowns, 9 picks, 17 touchdowns, 11 picks, 17 touchdowns, 7 picks, 17 touchdowns, 15 picks, 16 touchdowns, 11 picks. That was Russ last season, where the interceptions are the exact same as these other guys, but the touchdowns are
So low.
cut in half.
Yeah.
And so if Russ is in that second tier, people are just going to be saying he got the Sean Payton bump and that was it.
Yep. He can't be in the second tier.
No,
The Broncos are a losing team if he is.
man.
Wait, what are we calling the second tier?
18 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
okay.
Yeah.
It's like the 4th tier in my book.
Well, but
I kind of put it the first group in the top 10.
Okay.
You probably include Kirk
it
Cousins
is
in that
it is
group, too.
probably the 4th tier in terms of if you tiered off that
Yeah.
top 10, there's probably 3 tiers within it.
Of
Yeah.
course. So, man, I don't know if I'm more encouraged or discouraged by this conversation, seeing how far Russ was off from that last year, but also realizing like, okay, Jared Goff's of the world have done it. Kirk Cousins does this every year. He really should be there. And over his career, he's averaged over a decade, averaged 29 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. That is just the fact that he's done that for so long.
Yep.
If he gets close to that, we're not saying he has to get that, but if he gets 26 and 10, he's getting close to it, not even there, and you're like, okay, you're taking it.
I'm like slowly but surely just trying to erase last season out of my head, like in terms of like specific memories of what it looked like.
I can't believe not getting 20 passing touchdowns in a season, not just for Russ, but like every other quarterback the Broncos have had since Payton in 2014. How have they not got to 20 touchdowns consistent? There's 17 games now.
Yeah.
That's
Won a game
slightly
against
over one a game.
And they haven't had like a dominant running game.
No.
Like they've invested in
And they've
running
been
backs,
playing from
but-
behind most of the time.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes, exactly. Oh man, it's just being thrown back into the what did Emmanuel Sanders call it? The
world of suck.
The world
Oh,
of
that's
suck.
right.
You know what? Something is not the world of suck. Is our friends over at Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR. So many good beers over at Breckenridge Brewery. And this week, again, I think today's on the chillier side, like low 70s, I think, some rain. And then later this week, full strawberry sky season. I mean, 86, I think, this coming Saturday. So check out our friends over at Breckenridge
tea
Brewery.
time.
Yes, you do. Whether you want some beer tonight for the game, whether you want it for the weekend, Breckenridge Beer has it all. And go to breckbeer.com to get it on their beer locator, which not only you can find where you can get Breckenridge beers, but you can find where you can get exact Breckenridge beers. So check them out, breckbrew.com.
And head on over to FOCO. Tonight could be a big night for FOCO. I'm not sure how quickly they can release things, but
As quick as everyone else.
exactly. Yeah, I'm curious. Because they don't do as much with the T-shirts and hats. Like all those stores around
will
here will
have
just
that,
open.
yeah.
They will.
Yeah.
So there you go. So go to FOCO and you can grab all that stuff.
But more would be like commemorative bobblehead.
Exactly.
The banners that we've got
Replica
behind us.
Exactly.
ring.
Yeah.
I'd imagine they pre-designed some of those so that they can be like, hey, look,
I
come
would
give me a
think
quick.
so.
I would
yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I know I'm going to be looking tonight. So you should go look as well because there's so many awesome things there. There are Nuggets themed, that are Broncos themed, that are Buffs or the Rockies or the Avalanche. How is that? I cannot be remembering the Rockies before the Avalanche. That's messed up. But so many.
Rockies 2-14 in their last 16
I think that's
In the
against the
division.
division.
in the division. Okay.
And
Won
would that
yesterday.
be 3-14 now?
Because they did win yesterday.
I'm like, I think.
No, that was yesterday with that stat.
Oh, was it?
So then they were 1-14
Yeah.
or whatever.
Actually, that does sound right. But I'm pretty
How's
sure.
your Padres bet looking?
I think they're now up 3-2 in the series.
Oh my god.
Wait,
I
but
think
they've only
that's
won
true.
2. Oh, because
In
they
the last
played more
16.
than
Yeah, so I think they
17
won the first 2 of that
You
series,
gotta be
lost the
kidding
next
me.
2,
So the Padres
haven't played
are
them again.
that much in the dumps.
Well, I mean, no, that's the thing though. Is like the Padres have been incredible for a few years, but the Rockies have beaten them in the season series.
No, but that's what
like,
I'm saying.
3
This
years in a
year,
row.
that shows how much they're in the dumps.
I mean, the Rockies aren't that much worse this year than they were last year.
I'm saying the Padres are that much in the dumps where a terrible Rockies team is 3-2 against them.
They beat them last year too.
But the Padres are actually good.
But they're
That's-
not. They're having a disappointing
We're losing
season,
to the-
I think. Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Oh,
know.
really?
They're supposed to be good.
Sadly, a guy hit a walk-off home run for the Rockies yesterday that I had never heard of until that moment.
I
Wow.
heard about him about a week ago.
Nice.
There you
Yep.
go.
Big old flex.
I heard they call him Nojo.
No, that sounds like you're making fun of somebody for not having mojo.
Oh,
It's
damn.
really true.
No, Joe.
Really quick. Did you guys see how my Madden game ended last night?
No.
Tell
Our
me
trip
about
to the
it.
AFC Championship.
You won.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. I could tell by your mood today.
I was up. Shoot, I can't remember now. I believe I was up 11.
Okay.
Yep, I was up 11 with a field goal to make it 14. I'm messing this up, but I missed a field goal,
Okay.
which I think it was 8 to go up 11. So I missed a field goal to go up 11. He gets the ball back, drives all the way down, scores a touchdown, scores a 2-point
Gets the
conversion,
2.
gives it to me.
So tie game.
Tie game. 35 seconds left on my own 32-yard line. 4th and 3. Go for it.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Get it, and then
What was the play call? 4th and 3.
Jet
Four
sweep
verts.
for oh
4 verts, but then he backed all his guys off because he
Damn.
A lot of times I go deep in the situations where you think I'm going to go short.
Yep.
He's played me so many times. He knew that. He backed everyone off, so then I just ran a
Little
little
hot route.
zig route
Yep.
underneath, and he got like so much separation because the corner was like 10 yards off.
Yep.
And so then I dodged that corner, dodged another corner, took it like 60 yards.
Oh my God.
And
that's
got
pretty
into
good.
field goal range.
Wow. That is brutal.
It was,
What a win.
my heart was racing.
Who you
hands
playing?
were sweating. Levon.
No, it's coming
Oh,
up.
Will.
Yep.
Back-to-back AFC championships, me versus
Wow.
Oh man, when's the game set for?
We don't have a time yet.
Got to wait on tonight. See what happens.
Definitely
tonight.
not. Definitely not tonight. That's
Right,
off
right.
the table.
Right. Got to see what happens tonight though to decide the rest of your schedule.
Yeah, I had to play yesterday with a hangover. So.
Also, the Rockies are actually 3-4 against the Padres.
Okay,
Okay.
you're still in there.
I mean, definitely still
Yeah,
in it.
yeah.
Also, I mentioned before, I have that bet on the Nuggets win the title and also the Rockies to win 66 games. Dumb bet. They're on pace for 65.28.
And you need 66.
Yep. So it's I'm gonna be sweating out my Rockies bet.
You're
Which
the
is
only
just a
one that's going to be caring about the Rockies outside of our beat.
the
bad
guy
place
with
to
the
be.
Lakers Broncos profile
Yeah.
picture says, "My Padres are doing okay."
He needs the Padres to move to Los Angeles, follow the Chargers, and
Shouldn't you be a Clippers fan if you're from San Diego?
you would
Because it
think
was the
so.
San Diego
Yeah.
Clippers. If you're
If
going to be
you're
a fan of
old.
one of the LA
If
Yeah.
teams,
you're old.
Yeah, you'd
I was
think
talking
so.
to a guy at the bar who's a Charger fan from San Diego, and so
wow.
yeah.
That's just a rare. So there was a real Chargers fan in real life that came to our bar.
With JJ.
Oh.
One of JJ's friends.
Okay.
Spam's brother. But yeah, so I was just asking him, like, you still like the Chargers even though they moved? And he was like, yeah, like, I get it. Like, there wasn't much reason to stay. Like, it's not really their fault. I was like, oh, that's sad. Like, you should hate them, but they aren't worth hating. They can't.
Except for the fact that San Diego is way better than LA.
San Diego's
mean, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
But I think it's
LA
too
is
awesome. That's
terrible.
why they don't support a sports team.
Yeah.
It's like there's too much to do. Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
Denver is pretty
Yeah,
fucking
Denver-
awesome
yeah,
too. We
yeah.
support all of them.
but I think it's because that beach life is just like so carefree. They can't even care about sports teams.
True.
You
It
know?
also helps that
No time for sports when the surf is ripping.
Yeah, yeah.
it also really helps that Denver has actually won championship, so you know what winning is like.
That's
And
true.
San Diego
Yeah,
has
that's a good
never had
point.
that.
That's a good point. Damn, no championships for San Diego.
But
I
they
think
do
they're like
have,
the 8th biggest city in the United States too.
Really?
Which is nuts.
The Padres didn't get like a random one in
I
the
don't
80s or
know.
something?
Yeah, here's saying no.
I'm pretty sure they did it. I think that was the whole thing behind
Be
the new
your own
ownership.
ombudsman right now. You hear? Do you know what that
what
is?
that means.
Fact checker.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Also, I mean, they've got the Midway and the zoo, the Maritime Museum. Who is going to go
We
watch
have
the
a zoo.
Clippers?
We have a zoo.
We have a zoo.
I was right.
And I love the zoo. This is
You're
a top
right.
10 zoo in
Wow.
the United States, maybe top 5. San Diego Zoo is just a different level. Like,
mean,
it's crazy.
That's what everyone says.
Oh, that makes sense. The guy who's a Lakers Broncos fan isn't a Clippers fan because the Clippers are bad.
Oh, yeah.
I also love that Alvin shows up every single day, even though we roast him like twice a week. It's awesome.
Alvin, no chipmunks. I love it. Do we finish that read? Do we give the love to Foco?
We should say use the code DNVR for 10% off all non pre-sale items. This is a long read. I love that we're gonna make Caitlin or whoever's clipping this one go all the way
a
through.
long
read.
Yeah, it's honestly a gift because that was a fun
I
conversation.
mean, it's a great read for him.
Yes. So go to Foco. That's Foco.com DNVR for 10% off.
Shannon, don't be bait and Hank like that. We don't need that. But we love that you're rolling with us. And speaking of all the people rolling with us, the chat's been popping off. Only 38 likes. Hit us with a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. Also, if you're listening on podcast side, hit us with a 5-star review. Again, we really appreciate all of the support, and it's free for you guys to do. So thank you for all of the love and support. Should we jump into the comment section?
Yes.
Talk to the people. We've got a super chat coming in first from our friend Vincent Randolph. Says, any young sleepers so far? Johnson or Batty, maybe?
Young.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't been in practice, so I think
Oh yeah, I wouldn't know.
I think Hung Young's a good one to keep an eye on.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's the one that you can point to and be like, definitely a sleeper. He's got to be a sleeper still. But Beatty's another one who,
Beatty. There we
like,
go.
I think he makes the roster. But again, like, what can you judge with a running back at this point?
Yeah, I don't know. Agent Zero. Agent Zero as well. Can you name who that is?
Cooper.
Jonathan Cooper.
I don't think he can be a sleeper. Maybe he could be a sleeper for like a big role.
Jonathan Cooper.
There we go.
Yeah,
There we
and
go.
he passes the O test.
He does. Yep. Cooper and Jonathan.
Yes.
Which I was watching PFT live on Saturday. Jonathan.
Weird thing to do.
It was a weird day to be watching too. They were just like roasting Garrett Bolles. It's like, oh, you want to say we're gonna eat crow? Well, guess what? He sucked. So of course we're gonna say he sucked. And it was just like 6 minutes of that. Chris Sims was not on. It was the other guy. Chris Sims, I like to think, would have pushed back.
Worth watching.
Yeah, it is.
Love
The
Chris
other
Sims.
thing, the three things I came away from: they do not like Garrett Bolles. They don't know how to spell Jonathan Cooper on their graphics, and also, whenever Sean Payton weighs in on like a league-wide issue, all the national people are going to talk about it. And so this time it was the gambling thing with how you teach like the don't gamble stuff. And because somebody asked him about it, whatever Sean Payton says, because he's Sean Payton, they're going to talk about on the show, which is kind of crazy. Like nobody cares what Nathaniel Hackett thought about that stuff. And I don't know, just a strange dynamic.
Yeah, that is interesting. What did Sean Payton say about the betting?
He said a bunch of stuff. He said that they
Don't
spent.
do it. Yeah.
Good
That was
stance.
overarching.
Yeah.
But he
Stance.
said he spent a lot of time talking about it. The league is going to come in, spend time talking about it.
The 8-page document that the league gave to the coaches to read and read to the players made no sense.
Yep. He
So-
was more confused after reading
Yep.
it than before.
Yep.
And the big thing was, if you're a teacher and half the class gets a D, then maybe you should reevaluate what you're doing.
That is a great
Exactly. That was the
Trying
best
to tell
one.
my teachers that for years.
Again, like it's smart
No,
stuff to say.
everyone has to be getting D's, right? Not just you.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I was more like, if I'm getting a bad grade in your class, it's probably a you problem.
So you don't want to look bad. Let's bump that grade up. Yeah, I mean,
First of all, do you know the answer to this? Can they bet each other?
like not.
So can Jerry Judy go to Pat Surtain and bet him $1,000 on a college football game?
They would be on the same team.
Yeah, I mean,
Pick
it's
anybody
it's,
else.
It's under
I
the
can't think of any other players.
where people are getting caught is when they're legally betting, and so they're doing it through sports apps. That's how people are
But
getting caught.
I just want to know if that's allowed.
That's a good question. I have no idea.
I don't think
Because
it would be.
let me just tell you this. In pro sports locker rooms, tens of thousands of dollars are changing hands every day.
Yep. But cash, baby.
Yes.
It's not over the internet.
Yes. Well, they might be using Venmo, especially these young guys.
It is crazy
Well,
though.
for they could say it's for a nice dinner or something.
Do you guys have this feeling about cash that I have where when you have it, it doesn't actually count?
Oh, of course. Yeah, it's not real
Yeah.
money.
It's
Definitely.
crazy.
Yeah.
I forget I have it until I need it, and I'm like, oh, I got cash.
Yeah.
I'm just like on the golf course or something. I'm like, oh, I have $50 cash. Like I'll just buy everyone a drink. It doesn't even count.
right. But just, and we all very much enjoy to bet, but we're also not encouraged to do it, but very much allowed to do it.
True.
Man, I would just totally stay away if I was a professional player, and I know there are times and places you can do it, but geez, just ruining your career like this Colts guy who just got busted. He's started a couple of games in his career, but the amount that he was betting, I mean, his career is probably likely over.
Well, how much was he betting?
It was something we don't have details. We just have like, do you know what I'm talking about? It's like he was betting on his own team.
Oh,
he was
yeah.
betting very often.
On a sports.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
But
and he came out and he owned it. He said, in regards to all these reports, I'm very sorry I let my team down. I own it, and I'm going to be better moving forward. It's like you're not going to be in the league moving forward.
Was he betting on his team to win?
I don't know.
they haven't
I didn't
signed.
see those.
I would
details.
imagine.
That's like, again, I have no problem with that. But it's way against the rules.
Yeah. Yes.
Obviously, you can't do it, and that's a great rule. The dumb rule is that you can't make a bet on team property.
Yeah.
And
for
I guess,
any sport.
Exactly, and maybe you could say like that
Can you bet
should be
on
a
other
decent
sports off team property?
if you're off team property. But that's why it's dumb. Is like if you're on the sidewalk, you make the bet just fine. As soon as you are on team property, that same bet is a 6-game suspension.
But also,
Why?
Which is just crazy.
But also, if you're on the sidewalk outside the facility, the tracking location's probably going to say you're in the facility. That's why I'm
That
just
is
saying,
true.
like, I
Maybe go
understand
across the
they
street
could
just to
do
be
it,
sure.
but if
Don't
you're gonna
risk
do
it.
it, yeah, don't risk it.
Stick to just betting your friends.
Yes, or if you want to place a bet, do it in a sports book where it is very clear where you are.
just go home.
And
Really, they need to
Man.
get rid of that rule. Like, you should be allowed to bet. Like, like, if you're sitting with a bunch of guys in a locker room, what do you think you're going to talk about? Sports betting is absolutely going to be one of the things most 20 and 30-year-olds are going to do.
But
Like, why not let them?
It just is part of the rule, though.
And that's what I'm saying is they should get rid of that rule.
They
Yeah,
should.
they also, the NFL, to be fair to the NFL with making these harsh of rules and dishing out these harsh of penalties, I know people like to get on the NFL and say, so hypocritical as you take hundreds of millions of dollars from these places, but you have to maintain the
Yes.
integrity of the game. You
Yep.
can't F around with this. So
And that's
I'm
why-
actually okay with all of these intense rules. And Henry, the one that you're saying doesn't really make sense, but maybe they have a reason it makes sense to them, because once there's something where a player has thrown a game, oh man,
Definitely.
that will be
You probably have to never. Yeah, they could never accept sports betting money again.
right.
But yeah, and that's where, like, I totally agree. Like, that's a good rule for year one, where you say, hey, we're going to let this happen, but we're going to have all these crazy restrictions. I think at this point we see that we don't need that rule. Like, there's just no reason. If somebody wants to bet on the Nuggets tonight while sitting in the locker room, I mean, that changes nothing. And so
It's true.
suspending guys, I mean, and that's what almost all of the suspensions have been. Like, you have Calvin Ridley, you have the Colts
Well,
guy.
Calvin really bet on football.
Exactly. You have Calvin Ridley, you have the Colts guy. Everybody else is just 6 games for doing it on team property. Like,
Well,
that
so
rule can
dumb.
go.
There's gonna
Yeah.
be, I think there's gonna be a lot more suspensions coming down
Definitely.
this summer, and
I don't
let's
think-
hope it's not with the Broncos.
That's why you changed the rule.
Breaking these rules is just so dumb.
But
These guys
but
don't
again,
need the money.
But
Well, and sports betting to me isn't even about making money. It's just about having more fun watching the game. But even then, it's just like, how do you break these rules?
AD,
the
because
stakes are so high.
because the teams, the league did not make it clear. That's that 8-page pamphlet. The NFLPA put out the survey and said 80% of players didn't even know that that's against the rules to
Yeah,
bet
okay.
in the locker
Okay,
room.
well then
And
that's
so-
on the NFL. They should honestly revisit that.
Exactly.
And
And
or
hopefully the
that's-
NFLPA could maybe get these suspensions overturned based on the fact that the education was so poor.
And or it's on
Yeah.
the team though.
Definitely.
Because the NFL, no matter how confusing a document it is, they give to the team and say your players need to know, then that's on the team.
How is it not just a 20 bullets? 10, this is okay. 10, this is not okay.
Because you just you know how these things are when you get into big
I know.
corporations, and it's stupid. I'm not saying that they're right, but that's
But
just why.
Where's, like, Nathaniel Hackett with his coach's coach creating a great little prezi?
Sean Payton did it. He said
Well-
that he talked for 20 plus minutes about it.
Maybe Nathaniel
That's
Hackett.
true.
Maybe Nathaniel Hackett did that
No
right.
Broncos.
No one suspended so far. Yeah, we'll touch wood. Should we jump into the comments on the website
Yep.
really quick? Get to a few. Nash Broncos says, what we learned today on DNVR Broncos. Hashtag cancel Hank on how he's doing.
Oh, boy.
Quote, that's a good question. I hadn't thought about that yet. Oh, yeah. When I
Yeah.
asked Hank how he was doing, he didn't know. Number 2, another Hank quote. Quote, I don't live by the days, unquote. Apparently, he doesn't think the rules of the world apply to him. Just like betting. You don't think if you're a player, the rules wouldn't apply to you.
I mean, yeah.
You'd be
Oh, it's a
suspended.
Monday. Let's all tweet our gifts about terrible Mondays. Nah, it's just another day. You're fine.
And
Or I'm fine, at
hard
least.
disagree on church being a bad first date.
Ooh, I knew it
when
was
I said
gonna
this,
happen.
I said it was going to be a controversial one. Says the first date me and my wife now went on was church/lunch afterwards. Nope, I'm just going to stop you there. You said church and lunch afterwards. This
That's
is
a
like we
double.
talked about with
Yep.
dinner and a movie.
Exactly.
Dinner and a movie is fine. Just a movie is not okay. Just church, when you're sitting there, not allowed to talk to the person next to you, not a good date for the
Yep.
exact same reasons as a movie. So
We also
I see what you're
haven't-
saying, Nash, but you broke the rules there.
We haven't caught RK up on all the drama.
What's the drama?
I had to forfeit my final 2 picks because of oppression.
No, he did not have to forfeit anything.
What was the draft?
It was worst first date places.
I wanted
Very
to go the
specific.
taxidermist, which has happened on The Bachelor.
Yeah, and I
2018,
said
it happened.
you cannot base real dating life on The Bachelor.
I also
So you said he was ineligible to pick that?
Yep.
yes, and Yahir agreed.
Yep. Yeah, here agreed. We also had Jake,
Yep.
our
What were-
guy, agree with us. So
Here's-
I mean, it was a
Wait,
3-1.
what was the parameters for picking something?
Anything is allowed.
It has to be
Funeral was allowed.
Well, we shouldn't have given that to you. I told you we shouldn't
The
give that to you.
standards were set.
But it was anywhere that
each got
a
a
date
questionable
has
one.
really happened.
Well, then he definitely should have been able to make that pick.
Exactly.
I
Thank
don't
you.
know.
And
I
that's
don't
why
know.
I had to boycott my last 2 picks to assert my belief of oppression.
No, it's actually he did that because he wasn't creative and couldn't come up with 2 more.
Oh, I had plenty more. You just said they weren't allowed.
So
and
what were
Yahir
your
agreed.
picks?
Don't think you're out of this, Yahir.
I did.
I agree, and I'll stick by that agreement because we all got a questionable one. You got funeral. Nobody's taking a prison to like. We each got one. That
I
was
also
kind
had a
of out
prison
there.
visit.
Yeah, exactly. And I
Yeah,
agree
see,
with you
I
on that
mean-
one. I let you have 2 crazy
real
ones.
Yeah.
Which, if the line is the line. There's no like, oh, you get one
It
that's
seems
outside the
honestly
line.
like the topic was the problem.
That's fair.
Why is that the problem?
Because,
That's a great one.
like, there's too... Where do you draw the line is too ambiguous.
But no, that's why we
I
have
also want the
3
delivery
people,
room.
and it's 2 versus 1. Yeah. So you know that's how we do things.
like, I would have said,
line-
like, the bottom of the ocean with no scuba gear.
Yeah, but that's never been a date.
You never know. How can you prove
bet
that?
it's happened. I bet it's happened.
No, I
Strip
don't.
club was also on my board, but after I forfeited, I couldn't.
That was not on your board. You
It
never
was on
brought
my
it up.
board.
You never brought it up
Oh
once.
my goodness.
No, you forfeited. You don't. No.
It doesn't matter at all. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. It was on your board. Doesn't
okay.
help you in any way.
The count has 2 questions. What will be your Nuggets victory meal and why? Love the count.
Wow. I mean, beer is the easy
it'll
answer.
be liquid
Ugh.
meal.
I know.
I want a real meal.
Do they give you a meal in jail?
Yes.
Because that would probably be the one.
Wow.
I mean, this is one of those days. If I climb a street pole, there are no street signs. There's no like Jamal Street. There's no.
Not yet.
Yeah, they
Not
don't even
yet.
have like the 15th Street because that's just Colfax.
You
So I
know-
guess I'm not stealing one of those.
You know what there is though? Speaking of streets,
Illegal Pete's.
there is a new street in town.
Oh,
Mm,
it's
yep.
It's called the 2023 Compete Street.
Pete Street. Yeah.
That
And
is
it
true.
is a street sign that I imagine by the direction of Sean Payton has been placed outside of the Broncos locker room on the way out. It's just outside on the way to the practice fields. What do you think of Compete Street?
I think that football coaches are so lame.
Yeah.
It's corny.
It's so corny.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is a real street sign that is dug into the ground
Oh,
that is
yeah.
not going anywhere.
Yep. Yeah, that's
This
the thing.
reminds me of like my suburban science teacher making a rap about all the elements and trying to be really cool about it.
Wow.
Damn.
That's
But see, that's trying
loose
to
comparison,
that's
but-
trying to relate to the people she's teaching. I don't think any of these guys see Compete Street and they're like, "Damn, dude, I'm extra fired up to go and compete now."
The thing is, like,
no.
I don't know. If I had the chance to write like a story on like how Compete Street came to be, I would love that. But I know I'm not getting like 10 minutes alone with Sean Payton to talk about. And if I did, that'd probably be a waste of those 10 minutes. But I am curious. We're like, I'm sure it's,
I don't think there's a good story behind it.
but I want to know what the story is.
Story is they rhyme, and it sounds good, and so he wants the guys to think about competing as they go onto the field.
But I'm
This
sure
is
like
Sesame Street
Compete
level
Street
of rhyming.
rhymes.
Yeah.
easily.
eat.
Compete Street.
Yes. The syllables don't matter. Just the last syllable is
Yeah,
the same.
for it to rhyme, it doesn't have to be spelled the same.
See, I didn't
meaning.
even put that together when I saw Compete Street.
Oh my
But I'm
God.
sure there's like in a meeting or something, I'm sure he's talked about it. Like there's no way he just put it up there and it's never been addressed. And
There's definitely
You
a
think
way.
so?
There might be a story.
that would
but
just be so weird.
I just think
football coaches, most
Yeah.
football coaches, when they take over a building, one of the first things they do
Put
is
in the
they go
street
put
names?
up.
All their
They do
sayings.
little quotes and not even quotes, like phrases, 2 to 3
Like what?
phrases that they put. Oh my gosh, all around.
What is one,
the
for
building.
example?
Well, I mean, just one that we've seen players wear this year is, what is it called? What's the one, the shirts they've been wearing?
Oh, it is bad. I can't remember. It's the graphic.
It's
It's bad.
Uncommon.
Uncommon. Yes, that's one right there.
So there you go.
which that definitely comes from Bill Parcells because Mike McIntyre also used that one.
Okay.
So with uncommon, do you think that Sean Payton has explained that in a meeting or
Yes,
used that?
yes.
Exactly. And I'm sure Compete Street's the same way.
I don't think that, like, just because there's a loose story behind it doesn't mean that it's like better
Oh, I'm not saying it's good at all. It's probably terrible. I'm just curious what it is.
This is just
Or
what
why.
this is just what football coaches do.
It's what football
It
coaches
is.
do, and it's what all of them do.
I will say, it is like I do think it's important to pick a few messages and like hammer them in as like this is what we're about.
And so that's weird that it's Compete Street.
Well, Compete Street, I think he just says like
that's
that's
weird.
our address is on Compete Street.
Yes.
It's 2023 Compete
when we
Street.
come to work,
Yeah.
we're at Compete Street.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I
If
don't
you're
know.
sending a package here, send it to 2023 Compete Street.
Sean Payton's just such a good salesman. I want to hear him sell it.
And the count with the final question today says, does the visor like to call flea flickers love the count? I definitely can't comment on that one from what we've seen
Wow.
this week.
Well, I haven't seen anything, so I'll say yes, he does.
Okay. I would imagine, not from seeing what we've seen or haven't seen, but I imagine he's going to like some trickery.
Oh yeah, he ran
I mean,
the
he's
fullback
creative.
option.
Yes,
and
he
it was
did.
sick.
Yes, successful.
Yep.
So everyone that got
yeah.
on Nathaniel Hackett, it was maybe the execution, the time of the play call, not actually
He's
the play
run it
call
like
itself.
4 or 5 times.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's worked every time.
yep. Nathaniel Hackett 0 for 1.
Tough.
I mean, speaking of Nathaniel Hackett, a lot of comments, I believe Ryan Green tweeted out Compete Street. A lot of the comments were like, man, this gives Nathaniel Hackett vibes.
And that's the thing.
That's true.
All football coaches do the same things. If you win, they look cool. If you lose, they look dumb as hell.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, weren't the 2015 Broncos iron sharpens iron?
Yeah.
Like, and it looks cool now because they won, but like if it didn't,
And
it
probably
was like,
like the 2011 Lions were also iron sharpened iron.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is
didn't-
fine.
It just
fact is
didn't
they
make it
just-
into like a fluffy column about DeMarcus Ware giving
Yeah.
a speech in front of the team because they didn't have any moments.
Right.
and
yeah.
and then that's my frustration with the Nuggets with Bring It In is that there's been whatever, like every NHL team, every NBA team, every NFL team, probably baseball too, but nobody watches. They all have their dumb playoff sayings, which means there's like 30 of those a year. And so those started, what, 10, 15 years ago? So now like the top 300 to 500 sayings are just not allowed. So you have to go Bring It In. Repeat them. It's fine to repeat one if it's a good one. That doesn't mean you have to do something stupid. Bring back iron sharpens iron.
I don't
Bring
know.
it in,
I don't know why you need a saying. Why
I
do
agree.
you have to have a saying?
I wouldn't
it's
have a
hash-
saying.
It's a
It's-
hashtag for
It's
social.
marketing.
But
Exactly.
why can't it just be hashtag Nuggets Nation? And then you get the little emoji that goes with
Because
it
it's
too.
hashtag Mile High City, not Mile High Basketball.
See,
It
that
has
would be
nothing to do
sick.
with
Just
anything.
put Mile
It's
High
just-
Basketball in
It's
there.
money.
Yeah.
If the phrase hits, then you can sell shit with it on it.
yeah.
This one
it
just
in.
didn't end up hitting, but like the Avs did it. Find a way.
Which was
Then
fine.
guess what? After they win the cup, they get to sell shit that says "found a way," and a bunch of people buy it.
Yeah.
Brought it
I
in.
just personally don't like those shirts.
That actually works. Brought it
I
in
don't know.
works.
But that's not the shirt I'm buying.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
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 You might not like it, but people do. People bought it. It's
Oh,
all
I'm
over
sure.
Colorado.
I'm sure.
Definitely.
I'm sure.
But just have some pride. To not say bring it in.
Bring it in. That's what Coach Malone says at the end of every speech.
Yeah.
Also,
I mean,
like,
because
just imagine if
and-
Russ was
and
good
how
last
many other
year.
coaches?
Just imagine if Russ was good last year. Let's ride,
Ride
baby.
would've-
Let's ride.
How many
Fed
times do you
my
think
family
Russ said
for
bring it
years.
in last
By
year?
the way, speaking of Let's Ride, today, the anniversary of when the clip came out of Russ saying,
The first
"Let's
one?
ride,
Oh,
let's
God.
ride." No, the one where it really took off.
Oh,
the
no.
behind the scenes when the Broncos did their media day.
The Broncos
Today is media day for the Broncos.
social media did Russ so dirty.
So unbelievably bad. Yep.
So dirty.
Yep. Because Let's Ride was definitely a thing, but that's when it exploded on a national level, was when that video came out.
Yeah, because he looked so unenthusiastic.
Yep.
And it was so awkward.
And there was literally a green screen behind him
Yep.
that was the green screen because it was taken from like the side. It wasn't actually taken from like the right camera.
Right.
Yeah. And
It
so
was-
it was like, wait, the green screen is just kind of a great emblematic thing to show how, kind of fake and cheesy this is.
Yes. It was so bad. And then it became a meme.
Yep.
Every player in the country did something.
1
on
year
it.
ago. Doesn't it feel like it's been so much longer?
Yeah, it does. Feels like 10 years.
That
Jeez,
does.
It was like nice out when I got here.
It was.
Isn't it? We've gotten to the point where we need whatever the opposite. We could really use the opposite of moisture.
Ah, yes. Dryness.
It just doesn't sound good. We could really use the
Drought.
dryness.
Henry's banging the table for a drought.
It's
Not-
actually not true, though.
Really?
That we need that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably for sure need more moisture.
Water is
Really?
a good thing to have.
Water is good.
I don't know. It washes
you know what
away
else
the
is
soil.
good?
It'll uproot.
What's good?
The Buffs. Should we get to the Buff show?
Let's get to the Buff show.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Not exactly sure what time because Broncos have mandatory minicamp, so stay tuned.
Huge
to
weekend for the
at
Buffs.
DNVR_Broncos. I'm excited to find out why on this podcast. At _Broncos, and then of course subscribe to YouTube. Turn on those alerts, and you know exactly when we're going live.
See you guys.